Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Gaming Perspective podcast, the best multi-platform gaming podcast on YouTube, Podbean, and all your podcast consumption platforms. I'm Nicholas Downey, editor for the Inner Circle Games Network, back again with another episode. Glad to be here. I'm alive, kind of, and
just barely.
I'm joined with my usual two castmates. Just a quick note for those that follow the show extensively. Mr. Eric Jackson will not be with us for a few weeks because he is taking some time during the summer break to spend time with his wife and his daughters. So I wish him the best, and I hope he enjoys his time. So I have the usual band of misfits, so to speak, to talk about video games. So as always, I will let them introduce themselves. Mr. Sammy Tolbert.
Hey, good to be back here. It was good to take mercy on Nick and let him do the intro rather than take that over as well. Hope everyone is doing well. We've had a week. Okay, I've had a week. I've had a week, and it's only Monday. I didn't get a weekend. Okay, it just the week kept on going, and it's been rough. But good to be here. Good to be here, Nick. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you're doing okay now.
I can talk out of my mouth now, so that's an upside.
That's what we need, right? That's what we need you to do.
Contrary to some of the people that dislike me, I am unfortunately able to talk again. So you guys only got a day late on the episode.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. And also from the Inner Circle Games Network, Jared.
How's it going, everybody? Another episode of the Gaming Perspective and another fun evening of gaming chat and gaming news. I'm really excited to talk about all the stuff that's been going on. Probably not as excited as maybe Sam or Nick about certain subjects, but let's get to it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything for everyone here. We got some Destiny stuff, we got some ESA stuff, we got some other stuff. It's going to be a great episode, guys. Appreciate everyone that reached out to me over the past few days. Been having a bit of a rough spell. Going to be better through the week. I apologize to the followers for being a day late on this episode. Episode was supposed to go live on Monday. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get home until Monday. So this episode is now live on Tuesday. But this episode will be... episodes going forward will not be late anymore. As we try to get ourselves into a regular swing of things. So it's been a week and a bit since we last talked. So what have you guys been playing, if anything? Because we all have very hectic schedules. Sam, what have you been playing?
So I have been playing a couple things. Eric and I, because he has still been playing games. Eric and I have been playing Gears of War 3. You know, we're working through all the Gears games in preparation for Gears 5 when that releases in September. Almost a month from today, actually, if you get the Ultimate Edition.
It's like getting 1 month a day.
From when we're recording, like when you're listening to it, audience, it'll be a little earlier than then, or a little closer, rather. But, Gears of War 3, man, that is still the definitive co-op campaign. Nick, I know you haven't played it. Jared, you have played it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right, so you know what I'm talking about. Like, it is still the go-to standard of what co-op games need to be held up to. Honestly,
it's fantastic.
The cinematic presentation, but the plot twist, the pacing. Let me tell you something about the pacing of Gears of War 3. I've played through that game multiple times, but it's been a couple of years, and I honestly forgot about some of the encounters that are in that game. Like, okay, very, very, very mild spoilers for a game that came out in 2011. When you used the airships to drop in and rescue Dizzy, I completely forgot about that. I was like, I played this multiple times and I forgot this part was in here, because Gears of War 3 does something the first two didn't. And that is, it's throwing a new scenario at you like every other second. It's just, bam, here's a sniper run to deal with. Bam, now you got to dodge mortar crews. Bam, here's a giant underground spider corpser nest. Bam, just it keeps this going, and the pacing is phenomenal. It's a roller coaster, and I love it.
It's hard,
these years
too.
later. Yeah, no, I mean, it's no joke. But even years later, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. We're having a blast. Beyond that, I've finished Bayonetta on the Nintendo Switch. Have either of you guys played Bayonetta?
No.
I'm ashamed of myself that I haven't. I think I have it backwards compatible on Xbox. I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, I did too. It's backwards compatible. I just never
Yeah.
got around to it. This was the
I
first time
have the
I
first
played
one.
it. Oh
Yeah, I
man,
got the first one. Just haven't touched it.
of course. Okay, so you two were like me, apart from being a few days ago. Obviously, it's good. It's fine. It's a decent action game. It's okay. I played through it once. I probably won't play it again. I started on Bayonetta 2, and that I have to say is a massive leap up. Bayonetta
Really?
2, I can actually see myself replaying. The presentation is sleek, the animation quality, the difficulty is much more balanced, way more nuanced than the first game. It's really, really cool. The Bayonetta 2 is so far, I'm only about 3-4 missions in, but so far it is a great shining example of learning from what worked and not being afraid to change the rest, so to speak.
Okay.
It's really good. I highly recommend it. If anyone out here is listening, has a Nintendo Switch, never played it, get it. Highly recommend it. Play through the first one once. It's all right, and then hop into 2. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. I'll definitely have to give those games a try then.
Yep. So that's what I've been up to.
This man finding time to write like 36 articles and play all these damn games, and I hadn't even had time to breathe. I appreciate the hustle. Jared, we'll go into what you've been playing because I'm not going to be as near as interesting as Sam.
Well, I guess recently there's really only been one standout game that I've been playing, and it's something completely new to me as well. I've never played any of the games before. So I finally started Kingdom Hearts 3, and that has been a very interesting experience.
I've got a big question right off the
Yes.
bat. Why?
Why Kingdom Hearts 3?
Why Kingdom
Zippers.
Now, see, I don't know why there's so many goddamn zippers in this stupid
Are you
game.
into zippers?
Jesus,
Is zippers doing well for
no!
you?
As far as I know, I'm not. Maybe subconsciously I am, but I don't know. Maybe I'll bloom out into that one day. Who knows? But my fiance is a big fan of the Kingdom Hearts game, so she saw it on sale and she got it. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll try the game and see what it's all about. And it's interesting. Combat's enjoyable. The overall story, of course, is very kid-oriented in my eyes, but also very complex. So it's kind of a little difficult to follow and a little interesting. It's kind of interesting to hear Mickey Mouse try to be so serious sometimes and just go, I can't take you serious being seriously. It's almost impossible. But overall, I've actually been enjoying my time with that game. And then recently, the Solstice of Heroes in Destiny 2 has started up, so I've been dabbling a little bit in that as well. Other than that, nothing too much has been going on.
Right on. I myself didn't play much this weekend, being in the hospital and all that. Through the week, I haven't really been playing that much. Been playing a little bit of Wolfenstein Youngblood, a little bit of 2K here and there, but not anything too amazing. I'm starting, depending on how long I'm laid up with this, I'm going to probably start Persona 5 this week. Because I want to get Persona 5 knocked out before Control comes out.
Good luck.
I should be able to do it.
I don't know, man. I've heard that you need like 70 to 80 hours to get that game done.
Yeah, I get like 20 hours a week into it. I should be all right. Treat it like a part-time job.
There you go. There you go. Fall asleep at 3 a.m. playing Persona 5.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I'm pretty interested in that one, so that'll be fun to dive into finally. Yeah, I'm just I'm not feeling it sucks because we kind of have this. I'm not gonna call it a drought. It's like 3 weeks where there's no new games that are interesting to me coming out. And I sit there and go, oh, this is a great time to play my backlog. And I'm just playing the same multiplayer games that I always play. And I'm like, damn it. Like, this isn't helping me. But is what it is. A couple of things I'm kind of bouncing around. I might play, I might not. I don't know. Just kind of been in a mood right now. I really want a shooter to pull me in right now. I really want a multiplayer game that makes me like latch onto it again. Like I've been bouncing between like PUBG,
Destiny.
So what it
Destiny.
sounds like to me is you're waiting for Gears 5 to come out, Nick.
Yeah, Gears 5 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Either of those games needs to I just need a multiplayer game where it's my go-to again.
To be honest with you, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because I'm kind of while I'm not having quite the same dry spell, like I am playing obviously games in my backlog, I am playing new stuff. I do have the same problem of I don't have a go-to multiplayer game right now. So I hear you.
I miss like back in the 360 era, I'd be like beating some games here and there and be like, oh, I just want to chill tonight, so I'm gonna play Modern Warfare 3. Or I want to chill tonight, I'm gonna play Black Ops 2. Or I'm on a 6-month Halo Reach Bender. I miss that. I
hear you.
I miss being like, this generation's been amazing, but I don't want to say the multiplayer games have been terrible because they're not.
You haven't had one that you stuck with for that long.
Well, there's also been no major substantial standout multiplayer games other than maybe Apex and Fortnite and other things like that, but that doesn't really truly appeal to some of the more older hardcore players who, like Nick and I, played a crap load of Halo and Call of Duty back in the day. So those games don't kind of appeal to us. So for me, it's been like I've been kind of waiting for something newer than Battlefield 5 because you guys know I love Battlefield games. So I've been kind of waiting to hear for a new Battlefield game and just another, like Nick, another kind of main multiplayer game for me to play because I like multiplayer. I've missed multiplayer, but there's nothing for me to keep continually being engaged and continue to enjoy in the long term. And I'm waiting for something like that, but there's nothing really been out there just yet.
Yeah, and see, that's kind of my thing is like, the multiplayer game of the generation for me is Rainbow Six Siege, but my only problem with that game is consistently having a full team to play with. Because if you don't have a full team on that game, it's a migraine.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Because I played the crap out of that game when it first came out with a set group of friends. And we used to play Destiny a lot together too. So we hopped over to Siege and we knew how we played together, and we just destroyed people. But then when you're on your own, it was nigh impossible to get a win. It was just brutal.
Yeah, it's a challenge because it's like I really like the team-focused shooters, but try and get like 5 guys at the same time I'm on and everything else, it's a pain in the arse. Yeah. I miss back when I was in high school and everyone just got home and hopped on their Xboxes at 3:30 in the afternoon and just played till dinner and then got back on after dinner and played for another 6 hours and then went to bed at godforsaken time.
Those were the days.
Staying up till 3 a.m. playing Halo Reach, going to school and being like, it was worth it for the Killtacular.
As you fall asleep at your desk.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, school was for sleeping, and then nighttime was for Halo. That's how it goes. I'm really hoping Halo Infinite brings that fire back to me.
Me too. I really, really hope so. Like I'm so set for Halo to drag me back in a big way.
Literally, Halo Infinite is probably my second most anticipated 2020 game. First place has to go to Cyberpunk. Like my hype for that game. Like I haven't even played The Witcher 3, but I've played the original one, and my hype is just through the roof. I'm like, just give me.
Oh man, yeah.
So we're gonna talk about our first piece of gaming news: GTA 5 Online. So Take-Two did a bunch of financial releases and everything today. Last week with the launch of the GTA 5 Casino update, which we heavily criticized on this show for its predatory nature and everything else. And of course, the microtransaction rage crew was in full effect. GTA 5 Online had its biggest day in the history of Grand Theft Auto.
Dang it! It's not supposed to happen this way, people. Come on, didn't you listen to us?
And yet again, the free market speaks.
Once again, speaking that the casual market does not give a flying duck.
No,
at all. about microtransactions or aggressive monetization. There's a reason companies are pushing this, is because the hardcore may not like it, but the casual market's like, I only buy 2 games a year, $20 is $20.
Yep.
So, and in an absolutely whopping amount, it was also announced today that GTA 5 has sold a whopping 110 million copies.
It's insane, man.
Like, I want to know who doesn't have this game. Seriously.
Who keeps buying this thing? Speak up. You're not buying one copy at a time. You're buying like 5 or 6. I know it.
I want to know how long this is charted on MPD, because it's got to be some sort of record by now.
It will continue to chart.
Oh, yeah. It's insane.
It's going to chart all the way up till next gen launch, when they re-release GTA 5 again and sell another 70 million copies.
And guys, it's not just GTA. Red Dead Redemption 2 crossed 25 million sold. For context out there, people who are listening to this, the original Red Dead Redemption sold 15 million copies in its lifetime.
I was talking to a colleague about this, and he was like, wow, it's so insane that Red Dead Redemption 2 sold 25 million copies compared to the original. I'm like, yeah, but when you stack it up against GTA 5, it's amazing how that makes that number seem so small. Like, we sit there and you're like, GTA 5 sold 110 million copies. You're like, Red Dead Redemption 2 sold, it sold 25 million. And then but if you take that 25 million, put it in context of basically any other game on the market, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially this generation, too, alone.
Yeah, like this generation, like, I don't want to say games haven't been successful this generation, because a ton have been. But I feel like it's a lot more sparse than it used to be of games hitting 5, 6, 7 million copies sold. I could be wrong. It just feels like it. Or companies don't brag about it as much as they used to. I don't know which one is the answer to that. But yeah, it's insane, and Take-Two has more money than anyone can imagine with, so I can't wait to see what kind of insanity they pack into their next game.
Oh, I'm excited because as I linked to the DM earlier in our group DM, they're working on a new game plus. So, I'm kind of hoping with that, or I kind of have a slight feeling is that they'll probably do some pretty unique stuff in there. And, play through it again. There might be some new quests or different characters or new gear types and whatever else. But I guess we'll fully see when Cyberpunk comes out. But god damn, that game is just going to be a whole time sink. Easily. Mm-hmm. Easily.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's insane. It's literally it's the literal insanity of what The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2 did for open world games is something I feel like nobody's ever going to give credit for. And I will never understand, even as someone who only played, I think, 3 chapters of Red Dead Redemption 2, I will never understand the whole hate force behind it.
I don't want to get into that. There's a couple of reasons for that. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as The Witcher 3's combat is terrible.
It's the exact same crowd for the exact same reason. But that's another conversation.
Yeah, it's another conversation. Cinematic games, eh? So we're gonna hop into. I'm gonna give you guys a pre-warning. This was kind of the fun, bantery part of the podcast, but the next couple of topics are kind of more serious.
We got to get serious for a minute. We gotta get serious. I'm not gonna source this story or anything like this. This is pretty much common knowledge. This blew up through the week and has only gotten worse as it goes. So for people that do not know, the E3 convention is run by the ESA. While the ESA on their site had a list, a Excel spreadsheet essentially, where they had all the personal information of any journalist or influencer that they gave media or influencer badges to at E3, with their phone numbers, their addresses, and everything else. It was part of their website, but someone accidentally uploaded to the WordPress forum and uploaded it as an actual subsection on the site.
So people could access this document that had home addresses and home phone numbers for people like Alana Pierce, Jason Schreier, Kirk McCann, our own Samuel Tolbert made the list. Um, so in a time where people love to take things too far and harass the shit out of people online, you can imagine how people that have controversial opinions in what they write, whether you agree or disagree with them or not, you can imagine the kind of flack or problems that this caused. I'm not going to say anything more on this. I've got my own opinion on this, but I'm going to put this to Sam because Sam's personal information was leaked, his home address and everything else. So I kind of want him to talk about it because it's scary. It's scary stuff. So I'll pass this over to Sam to talk about this.
Before I begin, do you have anything to say, Jared? Because if so, get it out now.
All right. Honestly, I only have a little bit to say. One is like, how could you even have that sort of information linked or even attached to the website in the first place in such an accessible way? What kind of person put it up there in that fashion, and who didn't oversee it to make sure it was done properly? Because that's just completely irresponsible and, of course, very, very dangerous to the people that are exposed. And not just that, but as someone like me who wants to go to E3 in the future, and as a prospective journalist, as a media person there, that doesn't make you want to go there or decide not to want to go there, because it makes me feel unsafe. Like, what that doesn't reassure me in any way, shape, or form, or even encourage me to want to sign up. That needs to be fixed. It's horrible. And that's all I really got.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I'm not even sure where to begin on this. Nick has given all the information. If you're listening to this, you know what happened. So I'm just going to say this. The ESA and E3 as it exists in its current form, they're done. You're done. You don't come back from this. This was not a brute force hack. This was not mad leet hackor skills, as the kids call it. The kids still say that, right? Whatever. It wasn't anything of the sort. It wasn't backdoor entry. It was, you left it up there, accessible for months on end. Months on end, as best we can tell. As best we can tell, this has been accessible since February. And it's just now blowing up because no one happened to check it until recently, as best we can tell. I can't overstate how big of a security issue this is. And the problem is, it's not actually going to hurt a lot of the bigger journalists that much. I mean, apart from the phone number. The phone number is an issue, but a lot of them, their place of work might have already been common knowledge or in a directory or anything like that. Like these buildings have to be registered if they have physical offices. But the next generation of journalists, many of my colleagues, many of my peers, me, we're remote. We don't have an office that we walk into. We don't have a building that we get to check into that has a security guard munching a donut or whatever. It doesn't work that way. We work remotely, and we do a darn good job of it, because that's the future of how this whole thing works. But as a result, that meant personal addresses were on there. And you can say, well, 99.99% of people, even if they say something, won't do something. Yeah, but it only takes that 0.01%. That's all it takes. It just takes the one. One is too many. I have colleagues who were fearful of their lives the night this happened. I have colleagues who were afraid something terrible was going to happen to them or something terrible was going to happen to their families. I have colleagues who are some of the most inoffensive people in existence I'm aware of. I'm not trying to be rude. They just don't have any jarring opinion that would make you go, huh, that anyone could possibly have a take for. And they're getting threats. They're getting people harassing them. They're having to change their phone numbers. Changing phone numbers, while obnoxious, can be done, even though I don't think that's the biggest issue here. You can't just get up and move. The ESA so far has completely failed in its duty not only to protect the interest of those who are trying to work at E3 and do a good job for the industry, or to the best of our capability on an individual level or on a level as an outlet, as a media group, as an influencer, whichever you fall under. It's not just about that. They also have failed to meaningfully apologize. Just saying, whoopsies, well, we're sorry about this. It won't happen again. Yeah, but it's too late. This information can't be taken down. It's done. It's never going to be copied. Even if the kinds of websites that host it were forced down, which, spoiler alert, I'm sorry, but that's laughable. It's not going to happen. Even if that happened, there's backups. Let's not pretend otherwise. This information is out there permanently now. Okay? Permanently. Not getting withdrawn. There's no way. It's not going to happen. So where do we go from here? What are we supposed to do, ESA? What are we supposed to do? Are you going to be handling? What are you going to do? How can you actually guarantee it won't happen again? Because this was not, as I said before, this wasn't some hacking problem. This was a baby's first website coding level issue. There were students, I know, taking C++ or Java for the very first time in college, never touched a programming language before, that had a better understanding of website security and what not to do than something like this. My pet pictures, okay, folders of photos of my cat and my dog have better security than this.
Oh, damn.
This is ridiculous.
It is.
And I've yet to hear any offer of anything even remotely trying to approach meaningful recompense. Okay? Not even trying, because I'm not going to say meaningful because you can't actually get there, but just you're not even trying. And if anyone thinks this is over with, the conversation with the ESA, they're fooling themselves. It's going to build over time. And E3 is going to have to change. Assuming it's even called that anymore. That's all I've got, Nick.
Well, I'll layer myself on top here. Sam did a great job of covering all the points. ESA is incompetent. Period. End of story. As someone who was supposed to go to E3 and didn't go to E3 due to complications that were beyond my control, I would have been on this list. My family would have been on this list. Because the Inner Circle, we don't have an office center like Sam and many other people in smaller media sites or even big media sites. We don't have a brick and mortar location. So you have to apply. When you apply to E3, you have to give your home address. And I'm really starting to think of, it really made me think of, why does the ESA need this information in the first place? Like a phone number, like the whole point of this list was so that they could get developers and publishers in touch with you if you were attending E3. That was the point of this list. Why did it have to contain anything more than your name and your business email? Why did it have to contain your personal cell phone number? Why did it have to contain your address? There's no company. I don't care if Bethesda wants to book me for a viewing of their upcoming game. There's no reason they need to know my home apartment address.
They can contact you personally if you want to.
They can contact me via my email.
Yep. That's why there's business emails.
I mean, to be fair, okay, so the reason that kind of thing exists is because a lot of PR companies will send like packages, or if most of them don't do this, but occasionally you get press kits that actually have physical review copies. So that's why. I get that. I understand that.
I understand
but
that,
but why was it stored in this information? Yes, I get what you're saying here.
Yeah, like why does the like that's information that I should be supplying to Bethesda, CD Projekt Red, and things like that. I should not be supplying that to a third party who then peddles my information to other people. That's my problem with this. It doesn't make sense that all this sensitive information was kept in one document that could be published on their website.
Mm-hmm. But again, the thing is, as ridiculous as what you're saying is, the fact of the matter is it would never even cross our minds not to give it, because you assume an event of this caliber, of this size, has the proper security.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Like you would think for E3's been going on for what, 20 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
20 plus years, they've done it year after year after year after year, no issues. But now, all of a sudden, when people are sitting there going, E3 isn't as relevant as it used to be, they do this. I guarantee you, IGN, Kotaku, Polygon, all the major outlets, they will have no interest in dealing with the ESA next year. As Sam said, this is the death of E3.
As it exists currently, yes.
As it exists currently, there is no way anyone in the press or the media or even influencers are going to want to touch this event. So
it's true. And I got one more thing I want to add in too that just came to mind as you guys were talking is on social media online right now, and for quite a while, there's a very heavy stigma against video game journalists and a lot of hate that is unwarranted and isn't like it shouldn't be directed toward these game journalists, but it is. And then all of a sudden the USA gives these people the power to actually be able to retaliate back to these people that they so viciously hate online. That's not a good thing. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, and like we saw several examples of people being targeted through the week. Alana Pierce said she had to dispose of her phone and get a complete new one because it was just spam to hell. We saw Kirk McKend had to privatize his Twitter and had people emailing videos of them driving by his house. A good friend of mine, Cade, who is probably one of the nicest guys I've met on Twitter, had to lock his Twitter account due to harassment. This is not okay. This is now on sites like KiwiNet and other shitbag sites, for lack of a better word. So this stuff's never going to go away now. For some journalists, this will be an upwards battle of 3 to 6 months of this stuff. And for Sam's situation, is like, that's his address. That's where he lives. Unless he moves, his address is permanently out there. And that's a scary thing for a journalist, or a scary thing for anyone that creates content, because all it takes is one crazy person to disagree with something you write and take it personally. And now they have access to find where you live.
Yep. I mean, there's swatting, for example. And that's just people lashing out because they got mad in an online game. What do you think people will go to what extent they'll go to lash back in actually, like, in more so in real life with their own bare hands when they have the resources available to them?
And like, I'm going to be really honest too, and Sam touched on this as well. The complete lack of communication or empathy from the ESA is fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
You just doxed 2,000 plus people in the industry, and you're like, whoopsie. No, that's not a whoopsie. That's your company is fucked.
These are the people that make your event. These are the guys that make it happen, make your event successful and profitable. If you don't have these guys, you don't have an event.
Bingo. What are you going to do with E3 next year? Sell all passes as Gamer Pass and no media website's going to cover it? So who's going to care about it?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what's going to happen. We'll be talking about this part of things more in the future. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to happen is we're going to be scheduling things individually with companies. I'm not going to be talking to the ESA. I'm going to be saying, hey, Microsoft, okay, I'm registering for your stuff. Hey, Bethesda, hey, Nintendo, hey, PlayStation, Ubisoft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the big publishers, they can afford to hold their own thing. The question, though, again, is how this hurts the little guys. Because the little guys can't afford to hold their own event.
Well,
they're depending on getting a small booth at the conference center so that people can see what they're doing and check them out.
I will say this was posted on Reset Era and Reddit. It was a statement from someone from Devolver Digital, which hosts their own event outside of E3. And they said the main reason they did that is because they had a major distrust of what the ESA does. And
well, it shows.
And I think if someone like Devolver Digital can do a small focused event like they do, I think other publishers and creative types will get creative and figure out ways to do it. And I agree with Sam. I think this will be like we have the Microsoft Plaza where Xbox does 98% of their stuff. They technically are off site of E3. Technically. And I think you're going to see that a lot more going forward. I think ESA's handling of this event, they're done. This is over. And I don't see any reasonable compensation for this. I don't see there's any way when people are changing their phone numbers, having to hide their addresses and things like that, or having to consider moving, there's no coming back from this at all. It's done. It is what it is. And yeah, anyone else have any closing thoughts on that? Or I think that we pretty much got it all covered.
I'm all good, my friend.
Yeah.
Yep, all good.
Just really.
I mean, I'm not, but all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go into a little bit of happier news. Earlier this week, Bungie announced that they would be delaying Destiny 2 New Light, which of course is the free-to-play version of Destiny 2, and the Shadowkeep expansion. This was announced on the Destiny subreddit. The developers officially announced that both Shadowkeep and Destiny 2 New Light would be delayed until October 1st, which is only 2 weeks later than the original release date of September 17th, 2019. In the blog post, developer site is becoming increasingly clear to us that our release for this fall would benefit from a bit more time in the oven. This is the case of Bungie just working out growing pains of their independence from Activision, which they acquired earlier in the year. And with the delay being such a small bump, I don't really see fans having an issue with this. How do you guys feel about it? Because largely as a whole, this was one of the first delays I've seen in a long time where fans were like, yes, do what you need to do to figure it out. There was a lot of positive feedback on this.
Sam, did you want to take this one?
Not much to say, except I think literally everyone is interested in either Monster Hunter World Iceborne or Gears 5 or Borderlands 3, especially that one. There's a lot of crossover there that we're like, you know what, a couple of weeks, yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. I guess for me, it's not a big deal that they pushed it back. I like that they're, using it to make sure that the quality is there. And there's less issues at full launch with Shadowkeep and whatnot. So I can't say anything bad about that. In general, it's always a good idea to delay a game if you feel you need a little bit more time. Take the time. Make sure it is exactly what it needs to be for your fans when it comes out, especially when it comes to Destiny, because Destiny fans have been screwed for a long time. In a very long time, and Shadowkeep seems to be the biggest showing of what Bungie can do in separation from Activision and what they can truly, what they truly envision Destiny to be. And I'm quite excited because as a long-term Destiny fan, what I've been seeing has been a lot of very good changes, like the cross saves, the cross progression, everything. It's really nice to see them to take this approach, and it's just only going to help Destiny grow in the long run. So with this little bit of time, it's only a good thing. Really nothing bad to say, and I'm excited. Honestly, I'm really excited.
Yeah, it was really cool. The Destiny community has always been such an oddity to me. I've not been a huge fan of Destiny, not played a whole lot of Destiny, but the fan base has always been so interesting to me because they're so dedicated to the franchise. They're like, oh, we're so mad about this, but God, if they get this right, it's going to be amazing.
And you're right, though. They're very hardcore. They're very passionate fan base and very passionate community. And the best part about these guys, too, these folks, is that they're long-term. These are people that have been playing for a very long time and are truly entrenched in this title that just truly love for what it is and only want the best for it.
Yeah, and it's great to see. And, like, the whole Reddit thread. This is, like, the first time I've read through a Reddit thread where everyone's like, we're glad you guys are taking the time. We're really looking forward to this expansion. You guys are doing all the great steps. We just want you to succeed and blah, 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 blah. And that was like 98% of the Reddit thread. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, it's quite a helpful and friendly community. It's very much about cooperation and just being together and working together and just having a good time, unlike a lot of other games. So, and you know what, you kind of see that when you're playing Destiny as well, in the tower, in the social hubs. You'll meet random people that you have no idea who the hell they are, and they start doing something goofy and funny, and you kind of join in, and all of a sudden you got freaking 8 people doing the can along down the line in the freaking social hub, and you're like, what the hell is going on, sort of thing. And it's just the kind of people that play this game, and that's what, for me, what really makes it so exciting to see Bungie going the direction that they're going, because they're focusing so much on the community and not so much on the corporate side, and it's exciting.
For sure. And I think Bungie's had a lot of growing pains. I think they've learned a lot over from the original Destiny and everything else. And I think we're going to see more of that knowledge turn over, because I really do think Activision had too many fingers in the Destiny pie. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the game, but when Shadowkeep drops, I'll probably jump into this. I may jump into it a few weeks before, but I kind of promised a friend I'd start Monster Hunter with him once Iceborne kicked off. So we'll see. So many of these time sync games that all are so amazing. Wish I could clone myself 3 times so I could experience them all. So we're going to jump onto a different topic. I originally wasn't going to cover this topic, but it's become too interesting of a discourse to avoid. We're going to keep this brief and to the point as we possibly can. So for people that have been following, this really hasn't been reported on mainstream media-wise, but for those that follow anyone involved in this, so Sacred Symbols, which of course is Colin Moriarty's PlayStation podcast that he does with Chris Raygun. They were set to do a panel at PAX West. They were approved, everything else. And PAX told them to promote their event, everything else. They set them up in one of the biggest theaters, everything else. Everything was good. And then just about a month before it happened, they sent Moriarty an email stating that they were pulling his panel and his time space, and they would not disclose a reason. And then after further discourse back and forth, PAX, it's probably been about a week now, they haven't given any response or reason why, and have declined to offer refunds to any fans of Sacred Symbols that may have bought tickets to see the panel. So I'll kick this off a little bit. It's no secret that Moriarty is a controversial figure in games media. Everyone knows him from his infamous tweet, everything else. I'm not here to speak about his personal politics or anything else. Whatever your views on him may be are irrelevant to this topic. This is someone that was promised a spot in a convention, was told to promote it to his audience for upwards of 3 weeks just to have his platform pulled out from under him. Is this a dangerous precedent to set? And would more people care about this if this had been anyone else?
Okay, I'm not going to address the second part, because I think people do care. His audience does care. Even people who aren't in his audience care. As to the first part, the fact is, if you tell someone they've got a spot and you tell them to promote it, you tell them that they're welcome, you need to have a darn good reason for saying why they no longer are. Yeah. Which they have not provided, to the best of my knowledge. To the extent of my knowledge, right? They haven't issued a statement on why the panel was rescinded. I don't know if there's any legal issues there. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because I just legitimately don't know. But to keep it brief, yeah, I don't think that's okay. If you're going to rescind it, you need to give someone a clear reason why.
Yeah, and see, my problem here is I can't remember. I can't remember if PAX approached him or he approached PAX. But as we all know, as controversial as a figure as he may be, at the stage of either him offering his services to PAX or PAX offering a panel to him, they should have known what they were getting themselves into. Because if Colin said, hey, I want to do a Sacred Symbols panel at PAX West, PAX knows his history and should have went, no, that's not representative of our brand.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they approached him and then canceled it, that's no good either. Because honestly, without them saying anything, all it looks like is they used his panel to try to get his audience to buy tickets and then canceled the panel.
That is certainly what it looks like. Yeah.
And that's not a good look for PAX. And PAX standards for getting a panel are fairly substantially more open than a lot more of places. PAX is a great place because they give many people a platform to speak on. There's many people that have podcasts just a little bit bigger than mine or even in the same size that have gotten PAX panels and have had amazing experiences at these panels.
Mm-hmm.
So it blows my mind that they would deplatform someone like that after approaching them to bring them on. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I just think it's a dangerous precedent to start because if PAX does this once, what's to stop them from doing it again? And if they'd done this to anyone else, it would have been a way bigger deal. And I think it's just a really dangerous precedent to start deplatforming people, especially when you start the conversation. That's my biggest issue with it. And the only reason I made this as a topic is because I think it's really bad if you approach someone. You can't. It falls into the whole thing. It falls into the same thing as the THQ Nordic situation. When they promoted themselves on 8chan, they knew what that site was. They tried to play stupid, but
right, exactly. It's not that kind of situation. Obviously, that was all. Oh, wink, wink. Shout out to Wink Mark. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, champs. Doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And the thing is if you don't want to give people a platform to speak, that is within your right. PAX is a privately run event.
Absolutely.
And if Colin had approached them and said, hey, I want to have Sacred Symbols there, and they're like, you know what? Because of your political views and
go pound sand.
Go pound sand. I
Easily.
don't think it would have been a big deal.
No, they absolutely have every right to do that. The issue is how they've handled rescinding the offer.
Yeah, and at this point, I think if they just came out and said, hey, we don't like Colin's politics, and we don't want him having a platform. If they just said that, I think 98% of this drama would go away. Honestly. Because everyone knows that's
a legitimate reason, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like, if that's why you don't want to give him a platform, that's fine. But you were the ones that said you were okay with it. Up until people started having a meltdown about him being there. The end of the topic is you shouldn't agree to something without realizing what you're getting yourself into. Period. End of story. And I just think it was disrespectful, and for those that don't like him, it gave him even more of a bearing. And it's sad because if you wanted, the thing is people did all this to make sure that he wouldn't be there and everything else, and it's only driven his success even further. And I don't think people have realized that in our day and age, if you make something more controversial than it already is, it'll get a following out of it. So if PAX was trying to deplatform him, all they did was give him an even bigger audience now. And it colossally backfired. And it's a shame, and I hope PAX learned from it and they continue being as open as they've been with panels going forward, because it's been a really great community space for people to speak up on. Mm-hmm. And there's been some really great PAX panels from things from like Able Gamers and things like that a lot of people miss out on. I hope they continue to focus on the diversity of their panels going forward and they don't make mistakes like this again.
Yep, that's pretty fair.
All right, so we'll move on to the last topic here. This is not something I ever thought I would ever talk about on a podcast. We're going to talk about Ninja on a podcast.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
All right, so everyone knows Ninja. He made his fame on the Fortnite hype train. Was the #1 Twitch streamer for a time. Played Fortnite with Drake. It blew up. Highest subscribed Twitch streamer. Blah 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 blah. Broke a bunch of records. Well, in an absolutely shocking turn of events, Ninja switched to Mixer,
Yes.
which I don't. Did anyone ever think that was gonna happen? Did anyone ever think anyone in the top 10 of Twitch would hop to Mixer permanently?
No, not at all. Honestly, that was just not something that was on the top of my mind. Thinking, I wonder if they're gonna do this tomorrow.
Like, I'm not gonna pretend I give a crap. I watch very few streamers. I watch Shroud occasionally because he's a really good FPS player, and a handful of like comedy type streamers. But my knowledge on streamers is pretty limited. But I know Ninja's a pretty big deal to his audience, and he has a very large following. So he announced he was coming to Mixer exclusively, and of course the rumors flew rapidly of his, what was it, $952 million contract.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh my god, the amount of people I saw that I actually respect as people tweeting that seriously. I was just like, good lord. So Ninja is the first Mixer exclusive, so to speak. And I'm going to say this is a huge power move. I don't think we've ever seen this in the video game streaming industry, is another platform buying another streamer out from under that platform.
I'm pretty sure this is the first time it's happened. Yeah.
Like in the history of YouTube, Twitch. I'm trying to remember what the predecessor to Twitch was. It wasn't that big. But this is historic. I don't actually know what the dollar mark is. I've seen Tom Warren threw around a 6-year, $52 million deal, but had no sources on it. We saw the Comedy $952 million deal. No one knows how much this actual deal is. But it's no doubt the Mixer threw a lot of money to get him off of Twitch. He's had a lot of success already. I think he's upwards of 500,000 followers or subs or whatever the case may be.
Sorry, I was just gonna quickly say I saw earlier today from a Mixer representative that he also had his most concurrent live viewers at one time, and also the most donations in a stream in one day on his first day at Mixer ever.
Yeah, like it's nuts. Mixer's popping now because of this. Well, Mixer was growing at a rate, but this this certainly accelerated its growth
just a bit.
Now, the interesting thing is why make such a power move? Why would Mixer pay a large sum of money to bring a #1 streamer over? Because we all know from within our own gaming community, we've seen it. Podcasts are insanely successful on YouTube, switch to podcasting on Twitch, and lose 3/4 of their audience because people are used to a platform. And it's a risk, obviously. So what would make you think doing that risk is a good idea? So why is Mixer doing this? And do you guys think that we've got more moves like this coming? I'm not talking because we've already seen streamers like Dr. Lupo and a few other major Twitch streamers create Mixer accounts already and have been playing with the platform. So there's a possibility that more people will be coming as it goes. What do you think this means for Mixer?
I think it means that they're taking this seriously. And I've said this before, I'll say this again. This goes beyond an Xbox, PlayStation, whatever thing. This is a Microsoft, Amazon thing. This is Microsoft trying to pull streamers away from Twitch because Twitch is owned by Amazon. And if they can do that, you see how sometimes Twitch Prime, like you get Apex Legends skins, you get drops or currencies in other games and stuff like that. If they can start getting that kind of thing on Mixer instead, that's not bad. That's pretty good for them. They want people engaging over on Mixer. It doesn't matter the games they're playing. Ninja's still going to play what he wants. He's going to play Halo Infinite at launch because he's a big Halo guy, because Halo is his roots. He's not being paid to play specific games or anything like that. He's still playing Fortnite right now, but it's the knock-on effect. I've seen dozens literally of other smaller streamers, a couple dozen followers, a couple hundred followers, whatever, say, you know what, I'm going to try Mixer out for the first time now. Okay, let's give it a shot, and being welcomed by the community. I've seen people who are like, well, you know what? I used to just follow Ninja, but there's this other guy streaming Fortnite as well, and Ninja isn't around all the time. I'll check this guy out too. It's more than it's not people being excited, or not in my case anyways, being excited for Ninja himself, the person. I have no opinions, no feelings on the guy. It's the fact of, look at what this is going to do on a broader level for the platform. And frankly, right now, anything that pulls viewers away from Twitch and by extension Amazon is just fine with me, because Amazon, it kind of goes without saying, Jeff Bezos just bought another Star Destroyer. Super yacht, excuse me. And Twitch refuses to do anything about, people who pour vodka in their cats' mouths. Oh, but it's, like when Ninja left, they made sure to pull his check mark within a couple of minutes. So they are around. They are doing things. They're just focusing on what matters to them. Not saying Mixer is perfect. I've heard some complaints from a couple of women about their policy for like how strict modest dress they are. I don't know. I'm a guy. I am not going to offer an opinion on that because I just don't know. So maybe that's something they need to look into fixing. Just raising it as a question. But as a whole, I think they have a really big opportunity here.
Well, yeah. I see. The thing is that Twitch, the landscape of Twitch has been changing for a while. Twitch used to be all video games.
Right.
Now there's vlogs, there's IRL streams, there's all sorts of different content. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, like that's fine. You got fitness, like people who exercise on there, showing proper form.
There's fitness. You can. One of my favorite things to do is go on Twitch. There's actual blacksmiths that'll live stream making weapons. Coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Heck yeah. But the possibilities for live stream are all over the place.
The thing with Mixer is it's a very focused video game platform. So if you're looking for video game stuff, that's all you're going to find predominantly. I know there's some other stuff on there, but they have some pretty strict guidelines on what they accept for content and blah, 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 blah. Which I'm sure as they get a bigger base, those guidelines will change. But I think that it's just interesting to me, see how this is all playing out, because there's part of me that was worried, because like I was a huge proprietor of Beam when it first came out. I was like, cool, it's a streaming alternative, because I don't think any company should exist as a monopoly. And let's face it, for a long, long time, Twitch was a monopoly. It's the same thing as YouTube. And we have learned from YouTube that having a monopoly does not bode well.
Right.
So if Mixer is going to get Ninja and going to get big streamers off of Twitch and bring them to Mixer, maybe that will make Twitch actually enforce its terms of services. Maybe it'll make them pay attention.
Right.
And like, let's face it, the biggest problem that a lot of people have with Twitch is they do not mind throwing the ban hammer at small content creators, but if it's one of their cash cows, they don't seem to have a problem. Just, that's not a problem. We'll just sweep that under the rug. We've got girls throwing cats. We've got people going into bathrooms, live recording minors. We've got all these didn't get channel suspensions that lasted more than a week.
Yeah, if that.
Alinity never got banned. Dr. Disrespect was banned for a week and a half. And then he ended up getting promoted by Twitch on his return. So really? Was that really punishment?
Yeah, that's literally the Hulk. I see this as an absolute win meme. Like that's literally what that is. Nice. It's not punishment.
And look, I don't blame any of these top streamers that manipulate the system. If you can make a butt ton of money and not have to have the rules apply to you, go for it. But Twitch, really, if they've got a lot of issues on that platform, and they've got to get them sorted out. And my only hope is that Mixer kitty corners them into making a better service. It's the same thing I say with Steam versus the Epic Games Store. I think Tim Sweeney is one of the biggest dicks that's ever lived. But god damn it, if Steam starts to fight back even a little bit and starts fixing some of the stuff that's wrong with the platform, then the Epic Game, then it was worth it.
Yep. And if in the meantime they're making sure indie developers can still eat and can still pay, keep their families okay, pay for medical care or whatever, like that matters.
And that's what I'm talking about is like competition breeds better products. And as consumers, we want to consume the best quality products. And I think Mixer and Twitch can exist in the same ecosystem. It's no different than there's multiple social media websites. Like Facebook exists, Instagram exists, Twitter exists, Snapchat exists. All these different social media sites exist with one and another that offer not the same thing, but primarily the same experience. I'd argue Snapchat and Instagram are basically almost clone apps. But they exist and compete with each other, so to speak, to drive each other to be better. And I think that that's just what Twitch needs at this point, because they've had a monopoly for so long that I think they just don't feel like they need to apply the rules.
Yeah.
It's quite, you know what? That's very much the, not the possibility, but probably is the circumstance. And you know what? Mixer really is, it's a really awesome streaming service, and it's an awesome streaming platform. And it's also a very community-oriented platform as well. Like a lot of it, you have to interact to do stuff that, on Twitch you'd normally just pay for, sort of thing. On Mixer you can't. And I don't know. I think Mixer finally realized that they truly have like an awesome platform and a competitive platform that can probably go head-to-head with Twitch. And you also have to keep in mind that recently, over the past couple of years, Twitch has been implementing little things into their program that Mixer innovated first, like the interactive Mixer aspect to where fans can alter your game when you're streaming, sort of thing, on certain games to make it harder, more difficult, more interesting. Twitch did that probably about a year later. And then the front page layout of Twitch changed dramatically to actually look a lot more like Mixer. So there have been already substantial impacts that Mixer has had on the streaming service and on the streaming world. And I think Mixer finally realized, like, hey, you know what? If we can just snag a couple of these really big name guys over onto Mixer, our platform is just going to explode. And you're kind of seeing that already. And I was going to mention earlier, while Sam was mentioning how Ninja is bringing in a lot more views who are also watching other streamers and stuff like that. It's having a bleed out effect to other people. Other people are discovering new streamers. They're watching more. I've seen Mixer partners and stuff like that saying they're seeing other streams get more viewers than they have before because of just Ninja coming over. Now there's other bigger streamers as well who kind of took notice or are trying to dabble a little bit with Mixer as well. Already with that, you might potentially see other big name streamers go, you know what? Mixer actually is a lot better, and it's been a lot better for me personally, and I'm enjoying it a lot more, so I'm going to end up making the move permanently to Mixer as well in the long term. It's really going to have almost a domino-like effect for streamers in the long run. We won't probably see it very much at the start, like we currently, but down the road, I think we're really going to see more and more streamers move over to Mixer, really enjoy their community, the way the platform is based, how it's run, everything in general about that. And I think Mixer is really, really going to blow up. It was just a smart move, I think, for them to do.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think this is part of a bigger scope. As Sam brought up earlier, this is a bigger scope of Microsoft's game plan.
Yes.
Because picking up Ninja is a good win for a couple things. It's a win for Mixer because it's going to drive traffic. As noted by Jez Corden and Brad Sams, makes the moment that Ninja announced he was going to Mixer, it became the #1 downloaded iOS and Android app on the store, as in terms of free download. That's huge. Mixer, I don't even think was in top 20 prior to that. So that's huge for that to drive that way. So Mixer's traffic is driving more, which means they're making more money through ads and everything else. So profits for them are going through the roof now because of more traffic. And Microsoft is also looking at this as a marketing ploy too, because like Ninja started, like a lot of people don't know this because everyone knows him as the Fortnite kid, but he did a solid, I think 5-6 years of pro MLG Halo and was like a huge proprietor of Halo esports and believed in it a lot more than Microsoft did back in the day. So him streaming Halo Infinite to his massive audience, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge in terms of, I'm not saying that's necessarily going to translate to millions upon millions of copies of Halo Infinite going off the shelf, but
it certainly ain't going to hurt. That's the thing.
No.
The thing
but if
is,
it translates to like 20 to 40,000 copies, sort of thing, that's something.
It's not even that. I'm going to use Apex Legends as an example, and keep in mind we're talking a full price $60 game versus a free to play game, so I know it's completely different. But to use context here, EA literally, there was a leak saying that Respawn was going to release a Titanfall-based battle royale game. And I remember sending it to Sam and all of us laughing, going, and then the rumors like it's releasing next week, and then we laughed even harder because literally they're releasing a free battle royale game with no marketing, nothing. How the hell is that going to succeed? And then the day it launches, you've got the top 5 streamers on Twitch, Summit, Shroud, Ninja, they're all playing it. Now all of a sudden Apex Legends is the biggest game on the market and thrived exponentially for what? I'd say 3 months, 6 months before it dropped off.
That.
Good 6 months, and it's still doing well. To be clear, it's still doing well.
It's still doing well. Season 2 has brought back a lot of players, and even EA themselves has said that they could have done better in churning out content for the game, but they don't want to force crunch on Respawn. But they're looking at how they evaluate each season. Season 2 has been fantastic, and they plan to double the content for Season 3. So if that's the case, then they know content is king, so to speak.
It is.
But that initial kick was because streamers were playing that. Everyone started playing that. Everybody was streaming it. And it's so funny because I've seen so many people that are diehard Twitch users. The moment Ninja switched and they're like, oh, I don't rock with Ninja, but they're on Mixer now. Because they're like, this might be the chance. Because the thing is Mixer's a smaller platform, which all of a sudden is getting a huge flow of traffic. You have a better chance of blowing up on Mixer than you do on Twitch. So people are chasing the fame and the money, so to speak. This is, if I was going to compare this is the streaming site gold rush, so to speak, where people are fighting for and jockeying for position to be at the top. I'm interested to see how Mixer handles the influx of traffic. I'm interested to see how their back end holds up to that. And like as Jared said, it's just a fantastic platform. It's got the lowest input latency to stream. Like what you are doing is basically almost real time to your audience. Whereas Twitch,
you can co-stream 4 separate displays on the same stream at the same time. You can't even do that. You cannot do that on Twitch. Like I've used to watch Dr. Disrespect streams all the time, and he used to play a lot of PUBG with Shroud. And they'd have both streams going, but they used to always, want to be on the same stream, but they used to always talk about not being able to do that. Now, if they really want to do, they could easily do that on Mixer and include 2 other streamers, and you can watch all 4 streams on the same one. Like, that's a pretty cool thing you can do.
And I think you're going to see a lot more esports groups hop across to Mixer for that functionality. I'm not going to lie, live streaming Overwatch with the Multiverse guys was awesome on having 4 of us being able to stream our screens at the same time and then watch me proportionately fail at an epic rate. I don't know. Streaming is such a mystery to me. It's something I've never really been good at or been entertaining at. It's just so interesting to watch how how the culture works, so to speak. Like, what makes a good streamer? What makes a streamer popular? Is it their personality? Is it their talent? Is it both? Like, it's such an interesting culture that I am not adept at all. But I definitely think it's good to see Mixer blowing up. It's good to see Twitch have some hardcore, or I'm not going to say hardcore, but some better competition out there. So hopefully we'll stop seeing people beating their girlfriends on camera and then getting their channel back and then getting banned 2 days later because of the backlash of it. And we'll start seeing Twitch actually enforcing their terms of services to everyone.
Yep.
Any other thoughts, guys?
Nothing.
Cool. So we have an audience question to wrap this up. It's a brief one. Someone wants to know what our top 3 games for the rest of the year are. What are the top 3 most anticipated games
that we're most excited for?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's not technically a game, I'm not going to include Monster Hunter World Iceborne on here. But if I were, it would be at the number 2 spot. Okay. It's not technically a game, even though it's actually going to be just as big as the base game was, if not bigger.
I almost feel like we can count it. It's almost feels a similar situation to I had a comparison for this. Oh, the Witcher DLCs.
Oh, Blood and Wine. Yeah, it's that even more so. Like even more so. If you're gonna let me count it, then it's Gears 5. Gears 5 is my most anticipated by far. No questions asked. Then Monster Hunter World Iceborne, then Death Stranding. If you're not going to let me count Iceborne, then it's still Gears 5 at the top, then Death Stranding, then Control. Those are my 3. Either way, take your pick.
Right on.
Those are pretty good, actually.
Jared.
I guess for me, man, it's difficult because there's a lot of good games still coming out this year, and there's a bunch coming out next year, and you're kind of like, man, I wish I could name some from next year into this year, but I can't. So I gotta go.
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta make this difficult. All right, I see how it is. Top game for me. It's a really tough one. Code Vein would be my top one right now, and I'm really excited for that one to come out. Probably Gears 5 for number 2, and then Control for number 3.
All right, we really on the Control hype.
Hey, man, it looks incredible. Okay.
No,
I'm good.
No, seriously, I'm honestly just happy to hear people talking about it because I honestly feel like outside of the hardcore, no one's talking about that game, and it feels like a goddamn crime.
I totally agree. Totally wholeheartedly agree.
So my list is gonna be a little weird. I'm gonna put. Are we gonna count remasters or no?
Remaster or remake?
Remaster.
No, we're not going to count remaster. Sorry.
Okay, so honorable mentions will be Catherine Fullbody and Baldur's Gate.
Of course.
Like anyone's surprised. My most anticipated number 3 is going to be Ghost Recon Breakpoint because goddamn Wildlands was way too much fun with friends.
Okay.
Number 2 will be Death Stranding.
Okay.
Because it's Death Stranding.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1 is Doom Eternal.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. That's good, man.
That's a good one.
If I was able to give a top 4, that would have been in mine.
Yeah.
And one that I'll throw this as one that I think is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's because it's labeled as an EA title that it's flying under people's radar. I really think Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is going to blow people away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can't believe it. Can you believe
Why'd you have to pick top 3, man?
Yeah, I know. Maybe Well, maybe we'll do an episode about this. We'll do a special and we'll go in depth on our most anticipated games. So we're wrapping up this episode. There's one thing that's really funny to me. So on November 15th, we have 4 blockbuster games dropping. We've got Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order. We've got Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And of course, the biggest blockbuster of November, Jumanji, the video game. Why? Why would you release that on the same day as Star Wars and Pokemon? Oh, and don't worry, 4 days later, Shenmue 3 comes out for the 5 people that care. Yeah. So, anyways, that's been the Gaming Perspective podcast. Don't worry, I'll do official Shenmue 3 hate video at some point. So this has been the podcast. Thank everyone for tuning in, listening on the platform that you choose to listen to us on. We will do outros here. Sam, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's Tolbert. You can find everything I write on Mobile Nation. So, iMore for Nintendo stuff, Android Central for PlayStation stuff, Windows Central for Xbox and PC stuff. And Gears fans who really like the campaign, keep your heads up because an article should be out actually by the time this video or this recording goes live. So keep a lookout.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Jared?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at RageVirus_X or as well at TechGamesNetwork.com.
Right on. I'm Nicholas Downey, editor for the Inner Circle Games Network. You can find all of my written stuff at www.tickgamesnetwork.com. Don't forget, you can support this channel on Patreon at www.patreon.com/gamingperspective. If you check now, there should be some really awesome tiers that are up there that will revolve around the Xbox Perspective and PlayStation Perspective podcasts, and you can get early access to content and exclusive never heard content that will be coming soon as well. So I encourage you to check that out. And the more we grow, the better the rewards will be. So thank you for tuning into the Gaming Perspective podcast, the best multi-platforming podcast on a Monday. And we will catch you guys on episode 7.